Welcome back from an ad break. We will continue with our exam guide, paper 1 for business studies. So we are still talking about how to approach each question. Now we are doing section C, question 5 and question 6. But now, how do you write an essay? So when you write an essay, it's very important that you write the words introduction and conclusion in order for you to obtain 2 marks for the layout. So basically, what does it mean? You cannot go or enter somebody else's house without introducing yourself, isn't it? So same applies with an essay. When you start your essay, you start with the word introduction. You don't just start by greeting. You need to indicate that this is your introduction, and you underline the introduction, and then you start introducing the essay. That the introduction should reflect any one or two sub-questions of the essay. So like I said, you would have 4 questions that you are asking your essay. So the introduction should come from the 4. So you're choosing any two points or 2 things that you can talk about in your introduction. Right, refrain from repeating words or statements that were used in the preamble or question paper. Remember, when you do your essay, you will have something like a preamble. Some might call it maybe a scenario, but it's a preamble. So you need to refrain from repeating the words that are there, because as a teacher will not give you a mark for that, because that is a repetition. We put an R next to it, a repetition. You've repeated information that was there given to you. So you must not do that. So in your essay, we're going to do an example of an essay. So you do not repeat words that are in the preamble. So just read for your information only, but don't be tempted. I know some learners might be tempted to repeat the information. Do not. You will be awarded 2 marks for 2 facts in the introduction. So in introduction, it's 2 marks for 2 facts. So it's your 2 points there, and then 1 mark for the second point. So we need 2 points. Right, don't write the word body on the essay. You will forfeit marks if you do so. So the word body must not appear. We understand after introduction is your body, but the words must not appear anywhere there. So like as mentioned, you have 4 subheadings. You've got 4 subheadings, right, of the essay question, so that you can at least obtain 1 mark for analysis. We're going to speak about philosophy towards the end here, so that analysis is for that. So if you've written your 4 subheadings, you are able to get another mark for analysis. I'm going to explain that just now after giving you these tips. So you've got 4 questions. Try your level best to answer or to analyze those 4 questions, so that you can get 1 mark for analysis. Imagine it's like a free mark. So what are the tips on writing an essay question? You need to score a minimum of 16 marks. Why? In order to obtain the 2nd mark for analysis. Right. In the essay, we've got what we call FLASO or LASO. Others, they call it LASO. So remember, an essay is out of 40. So for your facts, it's 32 marks. For layout, which is your introduction and your conclusion, it's 2 marks. We've got your analysis. We spoke about 4 subheadings, which is 1 mark. 16 marks and above, it's another A. Therefore, you're getting your 2 marks. And then you've got your synthesis. Synthesis is the information relevant. But why would you be irrelevant? Why would you be off topic if you've got the questions in front of you? The question are there stated clearly. They're asking you about quality. So why would you now start talking about socioeconomic issues? Do you understand? So once you stick to the question, you are relevant, and then you get in your 2 marks. And then originality is for the examples, which is also 2 marks, and the examples must be recent. You can't give us an example that is 100 years old. So the example must be relevant, say roughly 12 to 24 months recent. That's what we're talking about. So the example must be original, your example. So do not forget this. It gives you what? It gives you 40 marks. So you need to master this so that you are able to give everything, to get all the answers. Right, to get the mark out of 40. I'm going to erase this so that we continue. So I've basically given you a summary. So the conclusions should consist of a meaningful fact and should not repeat facts that were written in either the introduction or the body. So after writing all the 4 subheadings, and then the last thing is going to be your conclusion, and then it consists of meaningful facts. Don't repeat information, don't be tempted. You will be awarded 2 marks for 1 complete fact, as opposed to introduction. Remember, introduction, we want 2 facts, but for conclusion, it's 1 complete fact for what? For a double tick. Double ticks. Right, so the maximum marks that can be obtained for facts is 32. I've explained that already. This includes the introduction and conclusion. You cannot start your essay without an introduction. You cannot end your essay without a conclusion. So before you leave somebody else's house, what do you say? You need to conclude and tell them goodbye. So same applies with your essay. You do the same. You've introduced, therefore you need to now wrap it up by concluding, writing the conclusion. Don't forget, conclusion is how many points? It's only 1 meaningful fact. So the other 8 marks are allocated for leso. Remember, I spoke about that. So the total mark for the essay is 40 marks. All right, now we're going to be looking at the essay, how to approach an essay question, which is your section C. Remember the instruction? That's the first thing you need to do. Answer 1 question in this section. You've got 2 questions, but you only answer 1. And these questions come from the 2 main topics, which is business environment and business operations. So for question 5, you need to first read the preamble. This is a preamble that I was talking about, to say you'll have a preamble, you read it, and then you write an essay on the following aspects. How many aspects? Remember, you should expect 4 aspects. So elaborate on the meaning of the macro environment. That is number 1. Number 2, describe the institutional environment with specific reference to 4 roles of the government and businesses. This is number 2. Number 3, discuss 4 components of the macro environment, except the institutional environment. Lastly, advise businesses on the interrelationship between the micro and the macro environment. 4. We've got 4 subheadings. Remember, in one of the tips we said, ensure that you write all the 4 subheadings. Why? To get the mark A, which is 1 mark. Remember, we said that. Don't forget that. So don't forget the rule here. When you start with your introduction. But in your introduction, the introduction can be about any of these 4 subheadings. You can't get an introduction here, or else that would be a repetition. So stay away from the preamble in your introduction or in your conclusion or anywhere in your essay. Don't forget another rule, do not write the word body. It must not appear anywhere in your essay. And then you have your 4 subheadings, and then you go to your conclusion. Don't forget the rule now for your introduction. It's 2 factuals, or 2 facts rather, or 2 points, but your conclusion is what? It's 1 point. Don't forget that. So you've got your 4 subheadings, or 4 subheadings, and then you're good to go. Remember, answer all these 4 subheadings, and they need to appear in your essay question. Then we're moving on to question number 6. Question number 6, business operations. This is your preamble. Again, go through the preamble, you read it. Businesses realize the importance of coordinating activities within business functions to achieve said goals and objectives. Some businesses feel that the purchasing function is an important function, as it is responsible for buying quality material. Support the above argument by referring to the following aspects in your answer. Right, again, we're looking at what? The action verb. Outline the purpose of the purchasing function. Don't forget, when we're writing our essay, we're writing in bullet points. So this is how you're going to start the subheading. Remember, you've got your introduction, isn't it? Right, you've got your introduction, and in your introduction, how many points is expected? You're expected to have 2 points. Then obviously you'll have to skip a line. After skipping a line, you don't write the word body. It must not show. But your first subheading is going to be what? The purpose of the purchasing function. You don't say outline. You just say the purpose of the purchasing function. Remember, we're writing in points here. You write in points. Right, and therefore, and then you're moving on to the next one, the 5 steps of the purchasing procedure. You don't write the word again, explain. The action verbs must not show. And then moving on, the third question, this is number 3, and you've got the last one, which is number 4. Don't forget to look at the action verb, distinguish between cash and credit payment. Right, you are more than welcome to even tabulate in your essay. Don't think you are wrong by tabulating. So here it's going to be your cash payment, and then you're going to have your credit payment as well here, and then you write your points, and you write your points here. I hope it makes sense to you. Don't forget, the link must be clear. Advise businesses on the impact of National Credit Act on businesses. So you write the impact. Don't forget, what are impacts? Impacts refer to what? To the positives and or negatives and or negatives. So don't forget that. So in your question, in your essay rather, you have to show either the positives and or the negatives. It's totally up to you. But don't forget, when they speak of the impact, they're speaking of the positives and or negatives. All right, so this is our essay question. Ensure that you get all the marks for your facts, your layout, which is your introduction and conclusion. It must have information. You've got your A, which is your analysis. We need to check that you've analyzed into all the subheadings, 4 subheadings, and then if also you have 16 marks, and then you're able to get your 2 marks for analysis. Synthesis, I said to you, there's no way you can be irrelevant. Why would you be irrelevant if you are focused, if you are answering all the questions that is required? And then originality, recent examples. Then you get your 40 out of 40 for your essay. I'm sure that is not difficult. All right, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're wrapping up the exam guide. I'll see you just now.